So today we're going to be learning how to analyze poetry, so that way we can begin our poetry unit. We're going to be focusing on this poem, just that way I can kind of show you the concepts. This poem is called Roulette. So to begin, we're going to want to read through the poem and just read through it. Don't try to analyze it yet, just read all the way through it. So I'm going to go ahead. So Roulette. There was a time I was afraid of dying. Sorry, I accidentally read the wrong line. There was a time I was afraid of flying. Then there was a time I was afraid of dying. I had way too much to lose. I had so much still to live for. At takeoff and at landing, each violent shaking in between, my hands searched for each other. I'd say a quick, desperate prayer. But now, 30,000 miles up, I wonder if maybe I've had enough. The plummet feels less scary. It could be a favor, maybe. The wheels just safely touched the ground. Sighs of relief let out all around. I, too, let out a breath. Better luck next time, I guess. So, now, our next reading, we're going to use this acronym called SWIFT. So, I'm just going to write it here. So, SWIFT is what you want to use to analyze your poems. It is structure, word choice, imagery, figurative language, and theme and tone. They go together in one. So now that we're going to reread it, I'm going to go over some areas that I think are important. So I'm going to zoom in. Sorry if you guys can't see that. So let's start with the structure. We're going to read it through in a minute, but let's start with structure. So we see that we have 4 stanzas of 4 lines each. So we see some rhyming here and there. So these are a rhyme. Breath and guess are a rhyme, around and ground. Maybe in scary kind of rhyme because they have the same ending sounds. Prayer and other, I think you're supposed to make it rhyme, but some of these are a little bit weird. And as you can see down here, we get a little bit more close to rhyming all the time. But for the most part, I would say that this is a free verse. So a free verse is basically just rattling off a poem, no rhyme scheme, no general idea of what they're doing. They have some rhymes that might show indication of it being an important line, which we can kind of see that these are important lines. Now as we read back over it, we're going to want to look at word choice. So, there was a time I was afraid of dying. Of flying. Red, there was a time I was afraid of dying. So I do want to talk about this line right here where it says red. We're going to circle that. Using this usually symbolizes that this was a concept that they didn't want to talk about out loud. So they say this, but they actually mean the second line. So we can call this like a secret thought. They didn't want other people to know. You were just supposed to kind of get the idea from the first line. I had too much to lose. I had so much still to live for. At takeoff and at landing, each violent shaking in between. So we're going to kind of circle some stuff that I want to talk about. 30,000 miles up. So my hands search for each other. I'd say a quick, desperate prayer, but now 30,000 miles up, I wonder if maybe I've had enough. The plummet feels less scary. It could be a favor, maybe. The wheels just safely touch the ground. Sighs of relief let out all around. I too let out a breath. Better luck next time, I guess. So I wanted to highlight these because violent shaking is kind of like a metaphor for the idea of troubles in life. Because we can make that assumption since she's talking about too much to live for, she's talking about her life. And this is all an analogy for, I'm going to put analogy. This is all an analogy for life. And we'll go over that again in a minute. But violent shaking, troubles in life, bumps up the road. Now, 30,000 miles up. We can say that this is supposed to represent years passing. So now that we kind of have that, we can kind of see the bigger picture here is that this plane ride, she starts out life wanting to live. So starts out life, which is the plane ride, wanting to live. As time goes, too much stuff happens. No longer feels like they have a purpose. No longer feels like they have so much to live for. Okay, you get the idea, because I don't have space. I write really big. So then we can come back to the title. Let's come back to the title so that we can kind of talk about this. So roulette. Whenever we think about roulette, we probably think about the like the gun scenario where you have six chambers. You put one bullet in one chamber, and then you fire at will, hoping that you don't get the one bullet. So playing roulette with life, it usually results in a death. And as we can see, she's kind of trying to gamble with death. That's what she's trying to allude to down here. She says, better luck next time. She is playing roulette on the plane with the idea of the plane. Because, as we can see, she says, better luck next time, in hopes that the wheels just safely touch the ground won't happen the next time. So we've kind of gone through imagery, we've gone through word choice, figurative language, theme, and tone. So I'm going to let the theme be up to you guys, but as for the tone, we can tell that it is, connotationally, it is not a great tone. It's very negative, very sad tone, a somber tone, which kind of helps allude to the idea that she is having a hard time in life, that she is not sure about living. And that's all. So I hope that this helps you guys. Let me know if you guys have any questions.